Now to Singapore, where the annual Shangri-La Dialogue took place this weekend. The Security Summit usually provides a platform to face-to-face talks between defence chiefs from China and the United States. But this year, Beijing sent a much lower-level delegation. The forum focuses on regional security issues across the Asia-Pacific, with some 47 countries represented. Adam Hancock was there and sent us this report.
For one weekend every year, the lobby of this luxurious central Singapore hotel feels a little bit different. It's filled with military officials, media and the odd world leader, as well as a few very confused holidaymakers. Defence chiefs from around the world have gathered here to attend Asia's premier defence forum, the Shangri-La Dialogue. This summit is usually an opportunity for defence ministers from the US and China to hold a rare face-to-face meeting. But this year, Beijing declined the invitation. It meant that all eyes were on US Secretary of Defence Pete Hegseth as he made a much-anticipated speech.
It has to be clear to all that Beijing is credibly preparing to potentially use military force to alter the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific. We know, it's public, that Xi has ordered his military to be capable of invading Taiwan by 2027. The PLA is building the military needed to do it, training for it every day, and rehearsing for the real deal.
In order to counter this apparent threat, Hegseth advised Washington's allies in this region to build up their own defences.
NATO members are pledging to spend 5% of their GDP on defense, even Germany. So it doesn't make sense for countries in Europe to do that while key allies in Asia spend less on defense in the face of an even more formidable threat.
Hegseth's speech was condemned by Beijing, with China's foreign ministry saying it was intended to sow division. But the US Defence Secretary is not the only person here expressing concern about China's military might. I sat down with Australia's Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister Richard Marles.
What we've seen in relation to China is the biggest conventional military build-up that the world has seen since the end of the Second World War. That's no small fact, and it hasn't happened with strategic reassurance. What China's intent is in building up in that way is unclear, and so that is our concern in respect of China. That's not new. We've been articulating that concern for some time, and indeed China has been engaging in this military build-up for some time.
And as Mr Hegseth said, would you advise countries in this region to be spending more on defence now, to be building their armouries?
Look, I'm not about to tell other countries what to do in respect of this, but I would make the point that we all need to be making a contribution to the security of our region. It is really important that we have an American presence in the region. That does help maintain a balance. But as I said yesterday in my speech, it can't be left to the US alone. We need to be all making our contribution to the security of the region in which we live.
Is there any updates you can share on AUKUS from this weekend?
Well, look, AUKUS is proceeding well. It really does bring us all three countries much more closer together in terms of submarine capabilities, and that's very much the case in terms of our relationship with the United Kingdom. We are working really closely with the UK, with BAE, who will be the critical partner in respect of the delivery of the submarines that we will be building in Australia with BAE, and we're very happy about that progress.
This weekend's summit was also an opportunity for the US to reaffirm its commitment to its allies in this region. President Trump's tariffs have targeted a number of Asian countries, leaving some of America's closest friends questioning if they can still rely on continued support from Washington. Zach Cooper is a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. I asked him if Pete Hegseth had done enough to convince the doubters.
I think he cleared the bar that people had set for him. Expectations were low, but I think he was reassuring that the U.S. cares about the Indo-Pacific broadly. I'm not sure that he was very reassuring about Southeast Asia in particular. And we're here in Singapore, and I think a lot of countries in this region would have liked to hear more about why Southeast Asia matters to the United States, not just the broader Indo-Pacific region.
One of the other big talking points at this year's dialogue was Beijing's decision to keep their defence minister at home. It's the first time since 2019 that China's defence chief has been absent from the summit, with Beijing giving no explanation for Dong Jun's no-show. I went looking for answers and asked Yongfei Zhao, a defence reporter with Chinese state media network CGTN.
What we understand is that it's quite normal for the Chinese Defence Ministry not sending its minister. According to what they're saying, that this really doesn't hurt the message that China wants to deliver, because basically China's defense policies has been quite consistent from time to time. So certainly the level of people attending the event may not hurt the message being delivered.
Sure, and what has been the response in China to the speech on Saturday from Pete Hegseth, the US Defence Secretary? He had a lot to say in that speech, some very strong words on China.
There are a lot of Chinese netizens discuss this issue. When I was on site listening to the speech delivered by Hegseth, second part of the speech is really anti-China, and I don't think it's polite to target any specific country. My colleague did a calculation. He mentioned China for more than 20 times. So this is really an aggressive statement, and it's really not okay for a conversation, a platform like the Shangri-La Dialogue.
Mr. Hegseth said that the threat from China was real and potentially imminent. What's your reading on that?
I don't understand where the narrative comes from. I mean, how many wars China has launched in history? How many wars that the United States have launched in history? If you look at the history, that China is really a country that wanted for peace.
The Shangri-La Dialogue was created to help ensure global peace. It's meant to be a platform where military leaders can sit down and discuss the major issues of our time. But with China absent and the US calling for more regional defence spending, the prospects of global peace are looking increasingly unlikely. Reporting from Singapore for Monocle Radio, I'm Adam Hancock.
Thank you, Adam Hancock, based out in Singapore for us.